Shalom, sweet people. I am Maker Strong. My Maker makes me strong. And today I am working on part 4 of the Celibacy is Easy, at least for me. So, today I want to talk to you guys about shadow work. And I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. What I really would like for you guys to see is this board. And I don't know, I've got the lights kind of doing craziness on me. Can y'all see it? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work, but anyway, we'll work with the board. I'm going to talk to you guys about shadow work. So what is shadow work? So, um shadow work is work that you have to do on you, okay? And the thing about shadow work is nobody can do it for you. It is something that you could probably get help if you go to counseling or if you have a very strong faith, you can usually get help from people in your faith community who are very empathetic and good listeners and good mentors. Because there are some very good mentors in different faiths and trustworthy people, right? So your parents or your brother, your sister, somebody that you trust to be able to be your authentic self with and know that there's not going to be any judgment about um things that you feel, you know. And that's going to be trial and error, guys. I'm just telling you from experience because sometimes you feel a certain way and you really you lived your reality, but somebody who also lived that reality beside you, they didn't see that. And so when you're expressing your feelings about it, they may feel like, they may try to invalidate your feelings, but your feelings are yours and they are real and they need to be addressed. All right. So why am I talking about shadow work when I'm talking about celibacy? Well, when you really want something good for your life, when you really want to be loved and to give love, I think what happens is stale relationships become more stale. You know, just wanting physical is not going to be enough. Just desiring that is probably going to be because you're operating in a lower frequency and you really don't care about the ascension. All right, just say it like that. You don't really care about the ascension. And so that's why you would be willing to put yourself out there, even though your mind is not healed, even though, and healing is a process, right? It's not like, um, but I mean, I'm talking about people that have, like, if you want to think of it in terms of a bullet wound, I mean, they still got a big gash just open. Like it's just, man, you still see the fatty meat. You still see the white meat coming out of them, and they're out there instead of going to the hospital, they're out there trying to date somebody and they're bleeding profusely. They need to go get healing, right? And so that's what I mean. So it's like, can you have sex with somebody who is bleeding profusely with a gunshot wound to their head? Are you thinking about having sex with that person? And that's what I'm seeing when I see somebody that's out there and they haven't done this shadow work. I see that they are still very broken and very hurt. And although I might want to, because I'm a natural empath, I feel it. I feel it in the way that they approach me. I feel it in the way that the words that they say. So it's just difficult for a man to just say something to me and think, oh, I'm going to say these words and she's going to fall for it, because I can feel it. And not only can I feel it, it's also the fact that I had to do this work. And now that I'm at this other level, having done this work, I recognize what level the other person is on. Okay? So let me go back to my board. So the first level here, let's just say that the self-awareness is endless. It's endless. You're going to die in this body, this realm. You're going to die without knowing all that you have inside of you, because your body is built to house the most high God. It's built for that. And just the infinite knowledge, wisdom, understanding, power, it's all in you. It's there. The capacity for it is there. So you're going to die and you'll never have gotten to the height of it. But you have to start somewhere, right? So the first level is this childhood trauma. I don't know if can y'all see that? Childhood trauma. Now, childhood trauma can come in the form of, for the most part, parents. And sometimes you had great parents, but there's still some trauma related to your childhood. Could be your siblings, could be your other children. It could be other adults in your life as a child, what things that happened to you and how your parents handled that. It could be um, a fear of abandonment. It could be a fear of, like, let's say if you were, okay, I'll tell you one that is common for poor people. It's common for poor people to not go to the doctor when they're sick because it costs a lot of money in the United States. Healthcare costs a lot of money. And so um, when you're poor, or even when you're middle class, in some cases lower middle class, you tough it out. You don't go to the doctor just because you have a cold. And sometimes you could have walking pneumonia and your parents wouldn't take you to the doctor because they just couldn't afford it. And that will create inside of you a certain trauma where you felt like your parents did not take care of you. They didn't get you to the hospital and you were sick, and maybe it could have been some little shot or some little pill that you could have taken and you would have felt better. But instead, you were sick for weeks and you couldn't play in the big game, or some kind of way something was halted because of the poverty. So then you have the people that are like so money hungry because of the poverty that they went through as a child. And now their priority is just making money, and it doesn't matter who they step on, it doesn't matter who they cut. Nothing matters except getting the money because the trauma of being poor. Okay? So you got that. But that's just one the thing that I'm pointing out. I want to just say that when you start working on that childhood trauma and you start bringing the dark things into the light and you start healing, letting that ultraviolet light heal those places, then you can feel the difference. And you can see when other people are still on that level where they haven't healed that. It's easy to recognize because you already know the pain that you went through when you were doing that work. And you can kind of recognize if another person is doing that work right now or if they haven't even started doing that work because you're already past that level. Now, the next level, let me put the light on it. Speaking of shadow work, wow, I couldn't even written this. Anyway, the next one is early adult relationships. And when I say early adult, I mean like when you were from 18 to 22. And why is this significant? Because 18 to 22 is that time of real discovery. And because usually around that time, you're not in school. You might be in college, but you're not in school. You're an adult at that point. You can sign contracts at that point. Maybe you signed up for a credit card and maybe you really did not pay that credit card and now you're stuck with credit card debt years and years later because of something you did when you were 18. Or maybe you had a your first adult relationship and it wasn't like a marriage. Like me, I got married very young, but I mean, other people don't get married when they're very young. So, um, if they are out there when they're like 18 to 22, they're probably sleeping around. Especially if they were on a college campus and that was just the vibe, right? So, if they were doing certain things during that time in their life, making certain decisions may have come with consequences. Maybe getting pregnant, maybe getting an STD, maybe, you know, having some type of toxic anything, especially if it was somebody the same age as them, where two young people that don't know what they're doing. Like even in my case, two young people getting married and really not knowing anything about life, just thinking we know, and then actually being in life, and then how that dynamic works. But also 18 to 22 people join the military. And in the military, they're training you to be a killer. They're training you to devalue human life and they're brainwashing you. I can speak for this because I was in the army when I was 18. And that was one of our cadence calls was like shoot to kill, drive on. Shoot to kill, drive on. And it's like, what are we saying? We're saying shoot to kill, drive on, meaning go on. Don't even think about what you just did. You shot somebody, you killed them, and drive on. Keep on going. Don't even think about it. Think about just the mind. And then if you were in the military, you were trained to be a killer, and then you still think you have compassion, but yet some mental work was done, right, to make you a killer. Anyway, I'm going to make this one a two-parter. And so hang on. I'm going to do the second part right after this. All right. Shalom.